All right, mate. How you going? Did you like that little
Good, eh? That was a bit of a
pause
fright.
blower? It was almost it's almost a Joel entry, except Joel would be much more FM voice when he talks.
All
Hello
right, then,
there,
and
folks.
welcome.
to Talkback Radio on ABV.
He does have a good voice for radio.
He does. He really
Good face
does.
for it too.
Yeah. Well, better than me across all counts. But anyways, mate, how you doing?
Yeah, good man. Good.
You're not Phil.
I'm not Phil. I
Yeah.
am the backup Phil.
That's right.
My name is Daniel.
Well, we're recording on a Monday.
Yes, it is
which
weird.
is Phil's day off, and usually it's my day off too. But I'm here to work because tomorrow it's our Christmas party.
You.
Looking forward to that.
Get on the Steins.
Yeah, gonna be having some fun, drinking some beers and sharing some shit chat.
Wanna hear that?
Yeah. Might even, geez, it'll be 2 pork knuckles within 3 days.
Yeah. I want to do a pork knuckle, but every time I do, I regret it afterwards. So I'm like, maybe not this time. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know that I'll do another one. I think
I'll have a few beers and I'll order a pork knuckle. Guarantee
yeah,
it.
that's what it'll be.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Mate, a quick one. We have our awards, Aussie Beer Voyage Awards, coming out this Sunday.
Nice.
So our
You
annual
recorded that
awards that we've done, yeah, we did record it here, and you didn't even.
I don't even know what the results
yeah,
are.
no,
So.
you were walking around, and we were just chatting away, and you didn't hear any of them. So yeah, it'll be out this Sunday. So looking forward to seeing what I forget some of them too. I could go in and have a look at the file, but.
Wouldn't want to ruin the surprise for me.
No, well, the amount of beers that we both drank and the amount that we talk about, and then on the day, like the way we do our awards is we write them all out, and then we each put in a whole heap of beers that fit in the category, and then we cull about half of those beers, and then we talk about the other 5 or 6 that are still left in there, and then the one who wins.
So you vote separately and then figure out the points, or you just come to a consensus by chatting?
We just come to a consensus by chatting
Nice. Yep.
beforehand. So we both put our beers in there, list them all, whatever.
Yep.
And then Joel and I will go through, and if there's any that are like we're adamant on,
Yep.
we both have a bit of an argument.
Sure.
Joel usually wins because he does the certificates.
I've already done the certificate for this one, so you can't argue, Auntie. Yeah.
But no, it's good, and I always love this episode of seeing the winners and who gets up. So
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Hey. So yeah, that drops this Sunday at 2:30. Australian
Chinese
Brisbane
dentist.
time. Yeah, Chinese dentist, that's right. Mate, Brewdog had to close 2 of its brewery locations in Mumbai.
That's the opposite of what's normally happening with Brewdog, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but it's down to supply problems and regulatory issues.
Yeah, right.
So they're aiming to open 100 outlets in India, which to us it
100.
sounds like a shitload, right?
I suppose there's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people in India, and that's
Wow.
over a decade, so that's 10 a year, which
That's still very impressive.
it's a lot, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, 2 of its flagship Mumbai bars had to close up, and a lot of it is just down to the cases, the government issues, things, just regulatory issues with licensing and that, just not wanting to think. Like a lot of people in India are wanting to drink beer, and traditionally the country has a lot of negativity around drinking. And, some of it's religion based, others just safety, health and safety based. There's one of my beer styles that I want to make, Handier. It's a rice beer brewed in the ground in terracotta pots, and in areas where this is brewed, it's difficult because a lot of women are actually abused by men because they're drinking this stuff and getting way too drunk and abusing people. So there's a lot of stigma around beer, as well as a lot of reasons why there should be regulation. So with that many people, you can't not have regulation.
No, of course. Well, you can't not have regulations anyway, really.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about the industry in India. I know it's young and it's growing really quick. Like I judged with a judge from India at AIBAs last year and had a good chat to her over a lunch, and she was saying like it's really positive, it's growing really fast, but it's still small.
Yep.
and I guess they're still probably figuring out this stuff as well. Do you know, like, this stuff that's affected Brewdog, is that sort of local to that area, or is it India-wide regulations? Does it say?
It's very different states and territories.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different rules across the whole country.
Yeah.
So some are 100% dry
Yeah.
market, and then others are a bit more progressive and whatnot. So yeah, it can be. I mean, if anyone's going to beat it, I guess it'd be Brewdog. But that being said, man, one of the next articles, we may as well jump to it.
Sure.
Is Bangalore's hidden breweries and where to find them. So I found this article, and some of these photos.
Hidden as in the government doesn't know about them? Or?
No,
No, just kidding.
Yeah. No, just like cool little breweries that obviously, I suppose if you're in a foreign country and you don't know what the word brewery means and how to find these places, you're gonna. Like one of this person in this case who wrote this article, after slogging up multiple flights of stairs, I emerged into a beautiful rooftop space. And then you look at some of these photos.
Wow.
How awesome does that look?
That looks incredible.
So for the listeners sucked in, you'll have to go to the website and click on the link to look at this article.
Definitely click on this link, because that is
It
an
looks so
amazing
good, doesn't
venue.
it?
Wow.
So clean and awesome.
Brick walls, yeah.
Yeah, look, just the colours are so vibrant too, and the lighting.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of these places that they're very. What I find, like I read the article, obviously I didn't just shove it in here. What they're finding is that probably similar to Brewdog, like they can't always get the things that they want. So the guy talks about in Belgium, it's very hard in India to age beer in wooden oak casks because of the humidity and things like that. There, it's, we find that here as well.
Yeah.
It's you've got to know where to put your barrels and whatnot here, but
Yeah.
so instead of relying on the tannins from the oak there, they're using it from Assam tea and things like that. So they're recognising what the flavour is and how they can get it from their local ingredients and adding that into their beer.
Without putting the beer at risk in
Yeah.
those casks. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I love that sort of stuff, and that's really what craft brewing is all about, right? Like,
Yeah.
I just can't get I love the colours
Yeah.
and that they're using in these breweries. It's just, I'd love to go to India, but I reckon I would get lost and have no idea where I'm going and what I'm doing.
It's a bit daunting, isn't it? Like, yeah, I have the same thought in the back of my head. Like, it's not at the top of my list, mostly because I think I just have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
I think Bangalore, I don't really know why I'm mentioning this, but I'm mentioning it
we
now
go.
because I've already said it.
Yep.
Our TAFE student that just did a couple of weeks of placement with us and is now doing some bar shifts with us. His name's Vinay. He's originally from India but didn't live there for long. But I'm pretty sure his family's from Bangalore. So
okay.
There you go. Very cool.
Nice. Oh, good to have a chat to him. Chat to him about Handia and.
Yeah,
whatnot,
it's been a while since he lived there, but I think he goes back reasonably regularly.
Yeah.
He sort of grew up in Canada, but that's his home area.
No, I think it'd be cool to go and see. I mean, I think beer tourism needs to be more of a thing too for people travelling. Like wineries is a thing.
Yeah.
And I think beer tourism is a thing to a degree, but I don't know a lot of people apart from craft beer lovers who go to places based on where a brewery is.
Yeah, I was going to say it's already a thing within these circles, within craft beer nerd circles. Like whenever you're going on holiday, you're looking up breweries,
100%.
And potentially booking accommodation accordingly.
Yeah.
But it's not as anywhere near as popular as wine tourism yet. Should grow hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so. When's our hiker hotel planned?
Yeah,
at the top of a mountain.
We could probably
where you got to
squeeze
hike to it.
Oh, I thought you meant here. I was going to say we could squeeze a single bed in the office.
Yeah. For the
we could set up a tent on Tui Forest Peg's Lookout.
Oh yeah.
Give it a couple of weeks before council
come
finds
along.
it.
What are you doing? Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to have stretch goals, but
that's a stretch goal.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of Brewdog.
Yeah. Mate, sewerage beer in Singapore. So
sounds delicious.
Oh, There's been a lot of articles. We've talked about them previously on the podcast.
Yeah.
Not you and I, probably.
No, we've talked
but
about a
I think
couple
we
of
have,
them.
actually.
Yeah, recyclable and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
So in Singapore, they don't have a natural water supply. And so a lot of their water supply is recycled water.
Yeah.
It's treated water that's used to recycle. And they've impressed at the UN climate talks with their beer.
There you go.
So they took their beer along to Azerbaijan, which I only know how to say that because of Formula One.
There you go. There you
Goes
go.
to Baku. But yeah, so they took their beer along, and everyone wasn't expecting it, didn't know. They just thought it was, a beer until they tasted it, and then were told, oh, this is a beer that was made from the wastewater in Singapore.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I think it's great. This is a good story, like for everyone. I think like water resource, it is finite. Not to a degree that we would see it in our lifetime, I don't think.
No, but we really do go through it in this industry. So
I think finding a better way to utilise it and use it and save it is a good thing. And
was this like a UN climate summit or something in Azerbaijan, or
it was UN climate talks.
Yep.
It was COP29.
Okay.
So yeah, it's called New Water, and as it says here, New Water isn't a novelty in Singapore at all. It's a thing they've been doing for years, but making beer from it and making a different use for it and showing that it's nothing wrong with it. And instead of branding it as wastewater, it's called used water.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they're drinking it as their water source.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. I'm sure there's going to be many more uptakes and developments on that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, essentially beer can be brewed anywhere, right? But you still need water to do so.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Mate, what do you get when a Slovenian goes to New Zealand?
Well, apparently, you get a hop farm.
That's right. He grows hops.
Wouldn't have been my first guess, but...
Yeah, no. But they do grow hops in Slovenia, hey?
Yeah, yep.
So, I can't remember some of the hop varieties. But,
I wouldn't know one. But it's in the right area.
No, I'm trying to remember what it is. It's I had it in the home brew shop. They're good for some sort of one of the lagers or something.
Yeah, probably a noble sort of...
It's right on the tip of my tongue, It's just annoying me, but I can't remember. But anyway,
there you go.
Old mate came over to New Zealand. He's going to inherit his dad's farm when his dad passes on or wants to retire. But at the moment, he was sitting there and he was thinking...
Just laying in wait, is he? Or?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. 2 years ago, he was like, until I have to do that, I'm going to travel the world. And so he's a fifth generation farmer, but he had some time to kill, obviously. So yeah, he just went over to New Zealand, wanted to check it out. He's got a degree in agriculture and a master's in the difference between European hops and Kiwi hops. So,
I mean, big difference, but still, that's a very nuanced master's.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So he's working at a new hop farm over there called Garston Hops, which is in between, it does say it in here somewhere, Queenstown and Invercargill.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. It's a bit further south than I expected.
But yeah, I think that's awesome that someone's going to New Zealand. There was an article last week that we didn't talk about what's the current rush to be using New Zealand hops all of a sudden. And I think we get it like a little bit luckier than probably the rest of the world.
Yeah, totally.
I know a lot of New Zealand hops do get exported to the US quite quickly because it's a huge market for them, but also they can't service the entire US market. New Zealand's such a small growth.
Yeah, a lot of the newer hop varieties, they're having to say no to America because they're using them and they're probably sending some here as well. But
you listen to some beer podcasts and they just talk about Nelson like it's gold.
Yeah, I love it. I'm right there.
Yeah, I do too.
I think the thing with NZ hops is a lot of them at least have one parent that's from Europe. So, like, I think obviously everything does if you go back far enough.
Yes,
but,
that's right, yep.
A lot of NZ varieties are sort of first generation away from European hop varieties.
Yeah.
And
I think it comes down to the terroir, right?
Mm.
Like, and that's exactly what it is. Like, it's just different growing conditions. Like, I used to grow chilies, and if you took seeds up into space and grew them and then brought them back down, which the Chinese did, you get different chilies. And there's
Why wouldn't you try that?
Yeah. It's freaking awesome. The chilies are great.
Can we plant hops on the moon, or?
Well, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to work out all these different things that you can do.
Yeah.
Yeast is the thing that you're trying to grow in space, because if you can grow yeast, you can do a lot of stuff when you travel to Mars. But this went off on a tangent.
Yeah, sorry.
But it's. I think the different hops, when you start growing them, they're obviously going to change their DNA, their output, and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Over time.
Even without DNA changes, the terroir changes flavour compounds.
Well, Yakima Chief Hops mentioned that they've got different paddocks. And when you go and, you do your rubbing your hops and pick which plot you want. Yeah. Because it's, I know, and I've never, apart from going to Andrew, like at Hilltop Hops Farm, going to like a hop rub and seeing 4 different types of Citra or whatever, and being able to do that every year and have your notes and know exactly, this is the way Citra's going this year, this is what I want.
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, sticking to that tangent for a minute, like I think what freestyle hops are doing is really cool. I don't know, you probably talked about freestyle before, I don't know, but freestyle hops sell hops from New Zealand, and they won't just release the 2024 crop of Nelson, they'll release the Nelson from this farm.
Yep.
And they'll release it in an early, mid, and late harvest batch.
Yeah, yep.
And then the same from this farm and that farm. And obviously, each farm gives slightly different notes, but also early and late harvest changes things a lot.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, obviously, a lot of the really big hop farms are just harvesting it all and mixing it all together, which is fine too. But it's just a really cool way of, through small batches, being able to see the difference.
Yeah.
So is he doing this until he goes back home to take over his dad's farm? Is that the idea?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Like that's his goal. But I mean, if he's done a masters in hops, like he's obviously super interested in it. So he'd be.
Is his father's farm a hop farm? I assume not.
I don't think so. No, it doesn't.
Maybe
say
it will be.
It is. Probably it might be. Yeah.
Wait till he dies. And
staying off on that tangent before we move on, I was doing a podcast with Hendo the other week on his Quality Focus Pro Brewers thing, and we were talking about dissolved oxygen in beer.
Hendo loves talking about that, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah. Yep. It was a good podcast too. It was a good episode, but halfway through I asked him a question in regards to using, because he said higher terpene beers result in less oxidation in the beer. You're able to combat it to an extent, because just the way the chemicals attach to the terpenoids.
Yep. Right.
And I threw out Abstract's hops using all these terpenes. Can you beat it by just flooding your beer with these terpenes? But that's not my question for you. My question for you is, do you think with these like Abstract hop products, like Cryo's come out and there's all these other products now just to get way more down, less vegetal matter, essentially, using in your beer, is that the way we're going to go eventually, do you reckon? That we're not going to see hop pellets eventually? It's just going to end up being oils and...
Yeah, I've been talking to a few people about this because, I think within the public and probably also within the brewing industry, there's still a bit of a sentiment that, liquid extracts are sort of cheating a bit. Like, a lot of people wouldn't say that, but, there's a sentiment there, and I think it probably was the same when, back in the day, everyone started moving to pellets. Like, a lot of people probably, I don't know for sure, but I'm sure they would have been like, oh, well, that's not fair. You've got to make it with whole cones. Like, that's how we make beer. You can't just get rid of all the extra stuff and cheat that way. And now, who uses whole cones anymore unless they're trying to do something super traditional?
Unless you got a local hop farm and doing a wet hop, like...
So, I think so. I think it probably will end up that way. I think there's probably still a way to go in terms of
overall
optimizing... Well, acceptance, yes, but also optimizing those products. Like, I mean, you can use 100% liquid hop products in a beer, and it'll taste fine.
Yeah.
It tastes different. You can't go from using pellets in your core range pale ale and then swap it all out for liquid and expect it to taste the same.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you're starting from a baseline of nothing with a brand new one-off beer, you can do that.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, there's a lot for us still to learn on the science side of those products. One thing I did notice, particularly with Evergreen, which was the beer where we used the Pineapple Express cannabis terpene from Abstracts, tasted amazing. It was great. But I did notice, and it sold out really quick, so it was probably only maybe 6 weeks to maybe 8 weeks at the most after packaging, where we were on the last couple of kegs. Yeah. The flavour had faded quite a lot.
Yeah, okay.
And the beer hadn't oxidised or anything like that. But, and I don't know why that is chemistry-wise. I'm sure other people could tell me, but I think there's little things like that we need to work out before they can become a proper replacement. Yeah. But I'm sure we'll end up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Guarantee it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because those things allow us to get a lot of flavours from so many other places, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's, there's a lot more flavourful beers to come in, and there's, if you're watching the cricket, we've just lost another wicket.
I was going to say that, but I thought I'd better not interrupt. I'm glad you did. Heads out.
It's not a Formula 1 podcast.
Travis Head, 89 off 101. Oh, the nervous 89s. Bumrah again.
Oh, yeah.
Caught behind.
That was a big hit.
He hardly even hit that. That was so close. Well,
at that speed, you would hear that easily.
There was a very small chance, and Travis Head was a very small chance.
Yeah,
so,
I reckon that's the game.
Anyway,
not into cricket, apologies for that. A little off through there.
After this small break, where we talk about cricket, we will be back.
Alrighty. Alright, so you're back with your beer?
Back with my beer.
Got the right one this time?
Yeah, I didn't pour myself in out of time by mistake. We're good.
Mate, next one is, I reckon, about a brewery that you have had quite a few beers of.
Oh, not enough, but I've had some.
I don't think you can ever have enough of this brewery, eh? Cantillon.
Cantillon.
I know, I can never say it right.
Close enough.
But,
Soft L's.
Yeah, I know. But the problem is that I read the word, and then in my mind I'm saying it before I'm trying to speak it properly. You need to just imagine the double L's as Y's. Cantillon.
Yeah, double Y.
Yeah. Mate, this is the basic article, just talking about, how they are one of the oldest breweries in Brussels. In Belgium, really. But just talking about what makes them so special and why it is what they do. There's brewers that go there for 3 or 4 weeks just to learn the art of what they're doing. Have you ever done anything with a cool ship, or?
No, not personally. No.
Would you? You would if you had the chance, wouldn't you? For
absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
Like that's the whole other world of brewing, really. It's bugs and yeast and wild stuff, and it's just a hard thing to get into, especially if you want to keep your brewery clean. But like that stuff fascinates me absolutely.
Well, it's old school brewing too, right? It's before we knew about how yeast works and all the bugs and that were in. The brewers just knew what they needed to do when they needed to do it. Using their rooms and stuff. That the cool ships and that were in to brew their beers in the different seasons, and it's super fascinating. I'm with you. I love it. I think it's great. You actually shared on your personal Facebook the other day was Sobremesa?
Sobremesa. Yeah, so Casey used to work for Topher at Wildflower.
Yep.
He started his own little brewery and blendery in Sydney as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so they, he's basically following the same sort of setup as what Topher does at Wildflower with their collective. It's the same thing, really. You pay $350, I think it is.
Yep.
At the start of the year, and you get, I think it's 12 bottles, 3 shipments throughout the year of special release stuff, plus
that you can't get anywhere else.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. The first shipment, you also get some merch as well. I got a glass this year. But yeah, all of the beers Casey sends out to La Familia, as he calls it, are very small batches made only for that subscription base. So I think it was limited to 50 up until now, and he's planning to add some more spaces next year.
Yep.
And Wildflower does a lot of those beers that only go to the collective, but not all of them.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, it's really interesting, and obviously it's super small batch because he's sending like 50 bottles of this stuff, which is I don't know. It must just be he wouldn't have 50-litre barrels, but it must be like a small batch blend or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's mucking around a lot with random stuff because it's such a small batch.
Yeah. Very
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it is super cool. Have you been to Wildflower?
I haven't. No, I haven't. No.
Yep. I've been
for a minute
there.
I was like, oh, have I? No.
Yeah, no, I managed to get there once, just before lockdowns. Actually, it was a week before lockdowns of COVID, and I was chatting away. Like I walked in there. It was a random Saturday,
Was this the same day where you fell asleep at one of the breweries?
Stockade.
Stockade?
Yeah, I did fall asleep there, yeah.
Was Wildflower before or after that?
It was well before that.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was my third stop. yeah. I went to Young Henry's, Grifter, and then Wildflower. And I was talking, like I'm just chatting away. Like the bar wasn't busy, but it was pretty full.
Yeah.
But I was just chatting away to the bartender, going, oh yeah, man, it's been loving this place, listening, learning, whatever, want to know more about it, blah, blah, blah. What can you show me? And he goes, oh, yeah, I'll come out here. And he's like pulling out nails out of barrels and letting me taste like stuff. And I was like, oh, this is pretty fascinating.
Was it Topher? Do you know?
It was Topher.
Yeah.
Like halfway through the conversation, I was like, man, I was reading about old mate Topher, and he goes, yeah, it's me. And oh man, holy shit! Like I'd never seen a photo of him. I didn't know.
Yeah, no. Yeah. It'd be weird if a bartender just started pulling nails out of barrels.
100%. Yeah. That's where it came from. I was like, oh yeah, I hope you know what you're doing here.
Yeah.
And that was, so that was 4 years ago. Well, nearly 5 now. It was great experience and great trying all these different beers that are very different to a lot of the other breweries around there. Like you go around there and you can just trying IPAs and other stuff, and then you get to try these more delicate, nuanced beers as well. Which it was a good day. Wildflower wasn't the reason that I fell asleep. It was just an excessive amount of beers. The old bouncer.
No.
I woke up and there was a glass of water in front of me, and a bouncer standing there, and I'm like, oh shit, am I in trouble? And he goes, no man, he goes, you're cool, you're not hurting anyone, you just nodded off. And I'm like, man, I'm so sorry and embarrassed. I said, I'm trying to just taste as many beers as I can before I fly home tomorrow. And he goes, you do you, man. He goes, but you can't get any more beers here. And I'm all right. Yeah. That makes sense. See
Go fall asleep at the next place.
That's fine. Yeah. So I went back to source.
Topher's, I mean, there's a lot of super smart people in that side of the industry, but Topher is definitely one of them. Like, I remember listening to him talk about fruiting beers at BrewCon in 2020.
Yep.
And yeah, it was so interesting. And the thing that gets me about that mixed culture, barrel age, blend, fruited stuff is, sure, like that. There is a lot of precedent around the world, but nowhere near as much as just brewing IPAs or lagers. Like, you can't just, jump on a Facebook group or ask the brewer a few blocks down.
No, that's it.
Have you got a recommendation for this process?
Yeah, that's it.
Like,
because you are using such wild.
Yeah, and I'm sure Topher has taken a lot of hints from people that have been doing it longer than him. I don't doubt that, but like it's still very much your own exploration.
Yeah,
try things, see what works.
As much as what you can find what works. Like this, I mean, you and I have probably both read Bootleg Biology and Milk the Funk and followed all of those sort of things as well. And but
that doesn't really cover process.
It just sort of tells you, no, that's right. It
and
just sort of
process
tells
depends
you
on where you
what
are.
can happen and what yeast you may find. It doesn't necessarily say what is there, because there's so many. So yeah, fascinating.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, very, very cool side of beer, and I try and drink as many mixed culture, barrel-aged, fruited things as I can because I love it.
I love it too, but unfortunately they don't love me, so I've got to pick and choose.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil.
Hi, Phil. Hello.
Hello. Phil's turned up with his dirty mo. I love it. That's so good.
I'm going to keep it.
Yeah. I love it. That's so good.
It's growing on me.
Why not?
Yeah.
It is growing on you. It's been growing for almost a month.
It does suit you, I must say. Yeah. It looks great.
3-person podcast.
What are you talking about now?
We just talked about Cantillon. And sort of morphed into just mixed culture
Beers.
stuff.
Have you been there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, go on, Phil. Tell us all about it.
Tell us.
You went there. Tell us all about it. How was it?
It's weird. It's in a funny part of Belgium. It's like in like the ghetto. And you're sort of walking along and you go on Apple Maps. It's here.
That's your first mistake.
And then
Google
it's like,
Maps.
Apple, Google. And I'm looking around. There's no like signs or anything. There's this little note on the door.
Yeah.
And it's just like go through the door, and then it's just like the back of the factory.
Yeah.
And then they've got a merch stand, and then they go, "Are you here for merch or a tour or just a drink? Just drink, or just follow the path down there." So you go there and up some stairs, and there's this little dingy thing, and they got all the the bottles and the what are they called? The
baskets.
The
wicker
baskets. Yeah, so cool. Really loved it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that is cool.
maybe we should do that for next hiker Christmas party.
Yeah.
We went
Daniel and
Powerball, or
keen for that.
if Lion or CB want to buy us out, and, like we could have our farewell
I
party.
got a ticket in Powerball, so yeah, if I win more than a mil,
I'd settle for slightly less than Stone and Wood got, I reckon.
yeah, don't want to be greedy.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I got you a shirt there, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Yeah, Phil bought me
nice.
a Cantillon shirt.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
it's been slightly smaller, but I think I'm getting back into probably fit into it without looking ridiculous soon.
Yep. No, I need to lose some weight too to fit into the McKellar shirts that Joe and that bought me as well.
Yeah.
No, we're over there.
It's just part of our cunning plan.
That's right. How to make our staff thinner, buy them smaller shirts.
It's the thing with a lot of countries overseas. You try and buy merch for people, and in a lot of countries, people are not as big as us.
No,
unless you're going to America.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, I actually bought an NFL jersey the other day, and I think it's going to be too big for me.
Yeah,
but that'll be all right. It's an
put
NFL
on some
jersey.
weight.
It's got to be anyway. I'll just put on some shoulder pads.
Yeah, true.
You got to be good.
What's next agenda item?
Phil, the next one, mate. You've popped in and you've rolled in, and you've made it the very first podcast where there's more than 2 hosts.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, it's great. So the next one, what to drink if you don't like beer?
Probably like soft drink or
what
something.
to drink? What beer to drink?
Oh.
If you think you don't like beer.
Yeah,
Well, that changes everything.
Yeah. So, and what do you reckon it would be?
It depends. If it's chicks and they like wine, what do you reckon?
Well, the whole thing actually talks about it, and it goes down. So, lambic beers is what they reckon that a lot of people are good for because they're sweet but not too sweet. There's a lot of flavour in them, and they go well with food. The other ones are things such as Belgian beers that are flavoured with fruit and gozes.
I
Which
reckon so.
makes sense. Like to me, that makes 100% sense.
Yeah, it's funny because like when I do go on dates and chicks don't drink beer, and I go that there's a beer for everyone.
There is a beer for everyone, and that's I think too. Like my stepdad Ian, he's a VB drinker through and through. Doesn't drink VB anymore because it's too strong for him. He drinks Carlton Mid. Yeah. But every time I go and visit him and Mum, he always says to me, it was one of the first things out of his mouth, he says, "Oh, while you're up here, are we going to go and check out some breweries?"
Yeah.
He loves going to breweries with me and checking them out and tasting new beers. And we were at Moffat Beach. We went to Brouhaha, and he tells me what he likes and what he doesn't like after he gets the beer. He goes, oh yeah, I think this one's not as nice as the other one. I preferred the other one, and for someone who normally drinks a dirty macro lager, to love going to craft brew, he doesn't ever do it when he's not with me.
Yeah. Okay.
Never.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. I think like saisons and a few other ones, and even like Caldera.
Oh yeah.
So Nick, I think I spoke about him on the podcast the other week. So Mawulumba or wherever it is, like northern New South Wales.
Yeah,
like
they're right next to Spangled Drongo.
Yeah. So he's buying the same canning line that we've got, but I think I mentioned it on the podcast the other week.
Yep.
Yeah, these 250 mil.
Yeah.
And it's actually going to be put on the wine list.
Yeah.
So
that's a super good.
I reckon
idea.
it's super smart. So
Yep.
I think you'll do well. There's lower ABV, so if you're actually after like a mid-strength wine, then it's
Yeah, well,
it's
and that's the
perfect.
thing too. Is like a lot of people are saying that you don't need to even drink a whole straight direct beer as well. You can mix the beer up. There are some beer cocktails out there, like the Mexican michelada.
Yeah.
One that you mix with tomato juice and beer. We've got Radlers.
Yeah.
Shandies. I used to have heaps of shandies when I was a kid.
Yeah, but I think beer needs to mature, and I think like Nick at Caldera is definitely onto something with these 250 cans on the wine list. So I think you'll do well. I think it's a good little niche.
I've just walked away for 5 minutes, or maybe not that long. But
I have no idea what we're
I've
talking
missed the
about.
last few minutes of conversation, but I want to chime in before we move on to the next
Oh
topic.
yeah, cool.
I think it's funny. It's probably the styles of beer that beer drinkers don't enjoy. So, not all beer drinkers, obviously, but the vast majority of beer drinkers, at our venue anyway, are a bit averse to sours or anything that's super fruited or sweet. And I think, lots of fruit or super sour or super sweet, they're probably the sort of area where you're playing with trying to introduce people that don't like beer.
I think it's like we were talking the other day though, like Joe's boyfriend Clayton.
Yeah.
Like he used to just have one or two beers and
He'd have
not
Tui
really
Forest.
get into it.
He'd only ever drink Tui Forest.
Yeah. And now he'll have the whole gamut and have more than two of them.
Same with Joe. Joe didn't even really like beer when we started Hiker, and she's on like West Coast RPAs and loving it.
And she just got a little email today, so she got in as a steward for
excellent.
Royal Queensland. So
hopefully she's on my table.
So
hopefully she can go. That's the Hiker beer. No, just
don't be corrupting your staff. Fellas, the last article on here is how to know if you're drinking from dirty beer lines. Do you reckon you'd know?
I mean, there's...
Can you pick it? How would you know?
Sometimes, yes. For sure.
Yeah. There's, what's that? It can be, right, for me it's always been that real musty and almost dry. I get that like extra bitterness, than a beer should be, especially if it's a beer you've been drinking a lot of. I used to work at a pub, and the lines should have been done a lot more regularly than they were. And one of the beers that we had on tap, which was Stella, you could always tell Stella was the first beer line where you could tell if the lines hadn't been cleared much, because you could just taste it in the beer. It was just way more bitter than it should have been.
I think if you know what old...
There was no head on the beer as well. It was...
Yeah. If you know what old or not looked after beer tastes like, if you know what oxidation tastes like, or diacetyl, and it's not those, and it just tastes a bit funky, you can pretty much assume it's the beer lines.
It's that Parmesan cheesy that shouldn't be there.
And it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you said you used to work at a pub where they didn't clean the lines as often as they should.
Oh, mate, this was 25 years ago.
That's every pub.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
almost.
Yes and no.
Apart from
I
Gav
know.
at Easy Times, he does it every week.
Yeah.
Every week.
We used to do.
Some
The
breweries
sales
do it
rep.
too often. There you go.
Well,
Well, it's not really a brewery, is it?
I used to know.
Sorry, Russell.
We used to clean our beer lines at the pub where I used to work. This was about 5 or 6 years ago. Every week, and it would be. Our lines were huge. The venue was 100 metres long.
Yeah.
And so there were. Some of the lines were half a keg
Yeah.
just in the lines.
That's crazy.
And so we'd always pick a night, which was normally our trivia night, and we would do specials on those lines of a jug of beer or whatever, just to empty those lines and clear them out. So
Obviously, you wouldn't do them all at once either.
no, you wouldn't do them all at
Stagger it.
once. No, but you'd have staff. You'd have a couple extra staff on this night, and it was a trivia night because that's when we knew we got the most people in drinking beer because they knew they were drinking beer specials as well.
Yeah.
And so the couple of extra staff, they were in charge of running up and down to the end of the bar, all the way at the other end, 100 metres away, to
That's
clean out the
crazy,
lines.
eh?
And
Beer lines that long.
yeah,
Yeah, ridiculous.
It's like
Imagine how
Tento's
expensive
new ones.
but
Like,
is it
remember
more
when-
expensive than having a second cold room and running that like at a
I
separate?
suppose it's just design.
It's
isn't
one
it?
or the other,
It's,
like-
Well, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
brewery design.
If you literally can't get your close room,
Close room.
If you can't get your close room as
In
cold,
your
if you can't get your cold room closer than that, then it is what it is. But
Yeah.
usually that's not the case.
Yeah. That's pretty much it there. What else is going on? We've all grown our mows.
Some more than others.
Yeah, well mine looks like a little bit like Steve Martin out of Pink Panther because I went to freshen it up and I went kunk and took out a massive chunk and I'm like shit, and I tried to like make it look good and I looked good on one side, but then the other side I had this look rough as, and I'm like fuck, I'm just gonna have to straighten that out and neaten it up, and I neatened it up and I just ended up with
And
this.
then next you'll like grow out the bits from there and like turn it to doodle.
No, I'm not going to do that. As soon as this Saturday is the last day, and I'm all for Movember and raising
Are we
money
that
and
close to
doing
the
this.
November?
Yeah, it's a
Oh.
week from Saturday. Yeah. And I can get rid of this behemoth of
I
a
think I'll
thing.
just keep mine.
I miss
Yeah,
that beard.
it suits you
I
for
miss
sure.
growing the rest of it. I mean, I've
Yeah.
been pretty shit at shaving the rest of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But still.
Yeah.
I
No,
did-
well,
I
I've
did
been,
think
I've
yours
been.
was looking a bit short. And,
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, 100%.
Alright.
It happened on Saturday because I went to the Boss and the Brewer podcast last day, and I was like, I better trim it up, and I can't remember what I was doing. I was talking to myself, or I was trying to work out how to
Singing?
do it, but no, I wasn't
singing
singing.
into the shaver.
But you know how in the mirror, when you're looking at something, if you move your hand one way, it's like the opposite way, and I think that's what happened. I went chunk and just took out. Oh man, I laughed at myself. I was like, all right, who cares? Let's just do it.
Yeah,
So-
only got a week to go.
Yeah.
What else is happening? I know Gab's Hottest 100. Speak about that.
Oh yeah, no, we
haven't
entered our beers for the Gab's Hottest 100.
It's only a week till voting opens, isn't it?
Week
Yeah,
today.
yep.
Hmm.
December 2nd, voting starts, and we're doing a huge and awesome push for Horizon, which I'm drinking at the moment.
There you are.
Well, I love Horizon. Phil's drinking it as well. Yeah, it's going to be our beer of the year. I'm really looking forward to seeing where we can get it. Phil keeps saying top 30. I want to get it top 20. Personally,
I
that's
think
it.
even when Phil says top 30, that's a stretch goal. But I
I
mean, if we
reckon-
can beat 52, I'll be stoked.
I reckon top 30 will definitely get Horizon up there for sure. Top 30.
I reckon 30.
I would definitely love to see it in the top 20 though.
More confident than me. But
That's a stretch goal.
when you say top 20, you mean like below 20, like
Yeah, I
in
know.
the teens.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a stretch.
I think even
Yeah.
in the 20s is.
Well, I think you
I
might be a
would
bit
be-
surprised, boys. You know,
I'd be
Horizon's pretty
very,
popular.
Very happy if that happens.
You know, we've got a really good marketing team going on here, and
that's true, that's
marketing push. We got shirts, we got hats coming.
Yeah.
We got, what are they? The Sherpa beer, or what are the snood things?
Oh,
or what are they called? We need them.
The
Buffs.
trail running things. Buffs.
Yeah, buffs. Okay,
But
so
that hasn't got Horizon on it.
Oh,
no, but it's going to be something cool to push.
yeah.
We've got
Like neck warmers,
coasters.
but not for warming.
Yeah.
It's more for bald heads.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you sweat,
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, gotcha.
so it keeps the.
But no, we got coasters, we got stickers, you know, we're doing a lot of cool
Same
stuff.
thing we did last year, really, but like
Yeah.
pushing it even slightly harder again. Like I wouldn't say.
And second, 2 venues. So
Yeah, but I think it's also a more popular beer.
Yes,
Because
it's easier
it's
to
just the
section
ABV
on. Yeah.
rather than, I don't think it's the flavour wise, but I call it the little sister of Cloudscapes, because it's still quite punchy and flavourful and very enjoyable. But yeah,
I think same as last year. Like we didn't pour in any large amount of money just specifically for Gabs, but we did make some shirts and sell some shirts, and we made some stickers and gave out some stickers.
yep. Well,
But
the shirts
it's-
will be online after I take photos of Phil in one of them.
Nice.
I tried to take photos today with me in them, and I'm like, no, we don't need them stretched that much.
But yeah, we're just ordering in merch and selling it as we normally would, but
Yeah.
pushing these particular merch lines, I guess. Just asking people to vote if they enjoy the beer. So
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to hosting the big party at East Brisbane. I think it'll be pretty exciting. As you and I were talking today about, you know, what's going to make it such a fun day, and I think it's just the fact that it's us.
there's a
We're
bit
all
of
going to be there.
anticipation.
We're all going to be checking it out,
Yeah.
watching the
Last year, no
countdown.
one really showed up for the countdown, but
I was
no
here.
one really expected us to.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was here.
Hansi was here.
I
Yeah.
was here.
And there were other people here too. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I think no one really expected us, including us, to.
I
to
think
get
Gab's Hottest
that
100
high
Day
in the
parties, though, are also, they're not a super popular event on a lot of people's calendar radars.
I mean,
as
it's
well.
It's Australia Day weekend. People are in a pool.
That's right.
listening to
There's so much
Triple K.
other stuff going on that weekend.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, it's going to be a stretch regardless. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Our fire pit over there.
Yeah. Looking
You can
amazing.
buy tickets to win that, which is pretty cool. It looks great. Hey, all that big bunch of fairy lights in there makes it look like a fire, which is cool as well.
I thought about buying like $400 worth of tickets, but then I was like, maybe I should just buy one.
If you want to buy one, I can do you a deal. So that's a one-off.
Yeah.
There's not going to be another one exactly like that one. So if you,
Ooh.
yeah,
Maybe I will buy $400.
maybe, yeah. But
Buy
I was,
$8,000 worth.
well, I was talking to Andrew, and he's going to do. I was talking to him. This is an exclusive right here and now, and it's not for anyone to buy. This is just for us. But he said that he can make a bigger one for us that might be able to go out in our beer garden,
Oh, cool. Yeah.
which will be cool. I think
if
that
we can,
will.
If we can swing that,
Yeah.
keeping it safe and everything, obviously.
Yeah,
that'd be-
100%.
that'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
I think that would be cool.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll talk to him. So he's Etch for You is his business on Facebook. But yeah, that looks fantastic. You can put a
Yeah, so it's like a great fire pit, but you can also
Oh,
chuck
yeah.
some steaks on there.
yeah, you can put a kettle on that while you're camping. It's full flat packable. Like it all just packs up and off you go. I haven't even bought any tickets yet, but I must do. I need to buy some because I really.
Yeah, same.
I'm being selfish, but I want to win it.
Yeah. We'll have to be very transparent when we draw the prize.
Yeah,
but,
well, it's going to be drawn on Saturday. Like it'll be the November 30th at 5 p.m. So,
Nice.
it must be drawn that day at that time. Phil's in charge of that.
we might even.
On my day off.
Oh well, whoever's here
Whoever's
can
here, yeah.
do the draw. Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out.
Maybe we'll even, do a live Facebook video.
Oh,
while
that'd
we're
be
drawing
cool.
it out of a bucket or something.
Yeah.
So it's transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that when one of us does win,
I mean, when, not if. Yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be people here to witness. but
we've had a
still.
lot of tickets purchased already.
Yeah, it was
So
going really well,
it's
actually.
gone really well. And
And I think people are more keen to buy a few tickets because it's for charity, which is
Yep.
great.
yeah, definitely. Well, here we go. Set
Marsh
another
is out.
wicket.
Marsh got bowled.
Marsh is
Well
out.
done.
If you are listening to our podcast for the cricket updates, we are now 7
A
out.
bit behind.
If you are, you could probably find a better one.
Yeah,
but this is good. Stay here.
This isn't a cricket podcast, but the result is on here, and it's 7 for. Have they even made 100 yet?
7 for not enough, that's for sure.
That's
They
exactly
need
right.
500 and something, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they probably cracked 100 just. I'm not sure. I haven't
Yeah, no, there's 160 odd before.
You know where I would love to be right now? In one of those Bangalore breweries, watching the cricket.
Mate,
Can you imagine that atmosphere?
Imagine the vibe.
It would be on.
Yeah.
like they would have it on for sure.
7 for 182. So yeah, we're probably we're getting there. We've only got 350 runs to make with 3 wickets in hand.
Mitchell Stark will do it.
We'll be fine.
Mitchell Stark could do it. He could hang around.
Imagine if Mitchell Stark made 300.
You know what? It just needs batters to stay in and hit around.
Do you remember Jason Gillespie?
Yes.
Going back a ways.
Yeah.
Jason Gillespie did a 250 or something ridiculous. That was
Yeah. But you've got to have that Excuse me. You got to have that person at the other end
Absolutely, yeah. That's the
that
issue.
will try and just keep blocking, and then get off strike to let you do what you need to do.
I mean, if anyone's going to be the person, it's Stark, really.
Yeah.
And, we've lost it with this. Plus the wicket is
Oh, it's so
ridiculous.
crazy
I
and
say that,
bouncy.
but Kohli still made 100.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No. Anyway,
Fingers crossed for the next test.
that's exactly right. Anything else, gents?
This has been cricketed out.
Yeah.
No, nothing else. No.
Time for a beer.
Time for a beer. Awesome.
I haven't had
Well,
beer for ages.
over and out. Pour it out.
Take a hike.
Take a pull. I don't know, what do we do when there's 3 people? Pour a hike.
You could do that.
Yeah, that'll work. Cheers, everyone.
See ya.